friends, this is Caitlin, and today I'm sharing with you a new release from Sweet November Stamps as well as a giveaway chance for you. So we're starting out with a little review. This is Frightful Flutterby Claudia. She's so sweet. Then we have Frightful Flutterby Bram. They could go together, they can be separate. I love that you have super potential there. We have Midnight's Halloween Adventures 2. Midnight is that sweet little cat, and he is out on the loose again at Halloween. These are so funny. Then we have the Halloween Gargoyles, and I am so in love with this set. It's so different than anything else I've ever seen out in the market. And I'm going to show you a card that I made with this stamp set using that one that has the bat in his mouth. This was so fun to color up, and it's spooky, but not like a stereotypical Halloween. I love it. It's very unique. Then we have the It Ghouls, which is this kind of witch or genie, a werewolf, and a vampire. And I am obsessed with their little flying bat cell phones. They're so cute. And again, so unique and different. These are definitely super cute. And we have the Carve Out Some Fun pumpkins, which are great because you can customize this to be any kind of thing you want. So you can see I'd made all different pumpkins, colored them up in all different color tones, and really had a lot of fun mixing and matching with this set. You can make them spooky or sweet or leave them without faces and use them for fall too. Then we have the Halloween Room Scene Builder, and this is amazing because the stamps line up from edge to edge so that you can create a slimline card with these. You could create like a full huge 5x7 card panel, even bigger if you wanted. Use them for like art pieces. And we have this Halloween Room add-ons that can go with it or use it on its own. And that has the beautiful cauldron, the pumpkin, spider web, and then we have the hair scare. And the reason that I have these two stamp sets set over to the side is because these are the stamps I am giving away in this video. So if you are interested in seeing a card made with these stamps, as well as for more information on how to enter the giveaway, stick around. And while you're here, you should probably just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Subscribing is going to be part of our giveaway anyway, and that way you never miss out on Friday crafty inspiration with me or Saturday bonus giveaway videos. So to enter in for a chance to win the giveaway, all you need to do is be subscribed to my channel, give this video a thumbs up, and leave me a comment down below for your chance to win those two stamp sets. That's the Hair Scare and the Halloween Room add-on. So the giveaway is going to be open until Monday, August 22nd, 2022 at 5 p.m. Eastern. And the winner will be announced here in the comments on this video by 7 p.m. that night. So 7 p.m. on Monday night, the 22nd. So you should definitely enter for a chance to win. And if you saw any other stamps that you absolutely love from this release, you should just go ahead and pop over to the Sweet November Stamps website and Instagram, because there's going to be a ton of fun stuff going on and other giveaways and a hop and all kinds of things. So make sure you're checking all of that out this weekend for a ton of chances to win different things and to see the whole collection with all of our inspiration. So we're going to kind of play catch up on this card. I am using the window from that room add-on, and I'm creating kind of a tower slimline card, and we're going to be making a shaker. So I used my beautiful Hair Scare Witch just to kind of place out and make sure my images were, I had enough room to put her on when we were done. I'm going to be fussy cutting her out later. And I wanted to add a little more detail, so I added in that spider web, and I have my sentiment down at the bottom there. I'm stamping my witch out on some Copic Express It cardstock, which is my go-to Copic coloring cardstock, and I'm using my Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink, which as always is my go-to ink for coloring. I never have to worry about letting it dry. I also fussy cut out this window, and I only did one mask for these. I'm cutting it out of a full stick Post-it note, and I'm only using one mask because I'm going to be using a Lawn Fawn brick stencil. You could absolutely use the Halloween Room Builder rock walls, but I just wanted to give you a different option if that seems like a lot of scene coloring, and maybe you want to start out with something smaller, like just the scene add-on set, and kind of practice building scenes that way first instead of jumping all in with the stamps, that this is a fun way that you can kind of create a brick wall around it without having to Copic color in the whole scene. Also depending on how much time you have, right? Because those kinds of scenes are definitely time intensive. So I am using my brick stencil up at the top there, and I'm going in with, I think it's smoked hickory ink, distress ink, sorry. And it's really easy to line up the stencils, so I love using it for something like a Slimline card, because all you have to do is line the bricks back up on where you finished, and you can just keep repeating that pattern the whole way down. So I just moved my mask, relined up my stencil, and then I ended up going over all of the corners with my black soot distress ink, just to darken them up and give a little bit more shading and dimension to the whole thing. So I inked up the edges, and then I also picked up my paper and just like dragged the foam against the edges of my cardstock to really deepen that very, very outer edge. Then I decided that my windows looked a little plain, so I went in with the N4 and I believe N1 or N2. I'll have all of my colors listed down in the description box below for you guys. And I'm just adding a little bit of shading to the bottom edge of these stones just to help them kind of separate out. There you go, it's the N1. And I'm just doing a really, really quick blend with these. So I did that to both windows to get everything ready. And then it was time to cut out my window insides, because we're going to be turning this into a shaker. So I used a pokey tool to kind of just create some dots in the middle, like a little hole, and then use my scissors to just cut from the center to the edges. And then once I could fit my scissors inside, I just cut right around the edges up against that black artist drawn line for the inside of the windows. And this was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I am terrible at using an X-Acto knife. If that works for you, feel free. But I found that this worked just perfectly for the size of this window. So I edged all of the insides of my window with a water-based black marker just to help make sure that the lines looked nice and clean. And then it was time to start coloring up my sweet little witch. I started out by shading under her hat and the outside of her face with my E04. Then I went in with the E13 to start blending that out, making sure to leave the center of her face a little bit bright. I went in with the E11 right through the whole middle part of her face, and I thought I was going to go with my E00, but I ended up skipping this and letting her have a little bit more color to her skin. I also went in to add some blush, and then it was time to get started coloring in all of her accessories. So I decided to give her a black hat, a black witch's hat, and most of her dress is going to be black as well. And so for all of my blacks, I'm using some of the 100 black, then the N8, N6, and my highlight is going to end up being the N4. I decided to leave just a tiny bit of that N4. On the cat, I use the same color combinations, but I put a lot more N4 to keep his face nice and bright so that you could really see, you know, his expression. His face wouldn't get lost in those dark colors. So I shaded in her dress to match. I left the bodice part of her dress blank for now, and I'm going to end up going in with some really fun RV markers, which is a little bit of a different color combination for me, but I think it's so fun. So I use my RV 99 as my deepest shade, and I added the same colors to the band on her hat, and the RV 69 to give it that middle tone, and then to really pop up that color, I added some RV 19, which adds that really bright, fun pop. And I gave her a little bit of those RV markers on that bottom band of her skirt just to make sure that this looked like a very coordinated outfit. So I added a little bit of those gray markers to her little necktie. I gave her some gold earrings, and then it was time to color up that sweet little kitten. Like I said, I skipped the black, the 100 for the cat, and really put in a lot of that N4, and I think I even brought in some N2 right over his little face just to keep it nice and bright. I wanted to play around with giving her some like amber eyes and hair, so I used a lot of the same marker tones for those, and the hair is a lot of the same kind of technique over and over, and I worked in sections, but I wanted to keep it all in for you guys because this kind of stamp set is great if you want to be practicing coloring in hair, because she's got a lot of it. And so I love a stamp set like this that you can really have fun with. You can give her, because she's a witch, right, you can give her crazy colored hair if you wanted. You could play with all sorts of rainbows, and I love that her hair is in kind of those banded sections, because even like section to section you could give her different colored hair. They don't have to be, you know, super realistic colors. But I definitely went with this really fun kind of amber auburn hair, using my E29 to start with to get those deeper shades. And you can see I'm really trying to keep very light pressure on my marker so that my lines are nice and thin and I don't end up taking over the entire space with those dark colors. These longer sections are definitely where I feel like I could use the most practice myself in getting some nice continuous lines, keeping everything really smooth. And my medium shade for my hair was an E99. And you can see I'm just going in and kind of doing long sweeping motions across all of where my darker color is, making sure to leave some white space there for my YR24, which is going to be my highlight. And with that one, I'm just kind of filling in the area. So I really took my time working, like I said, section by section, just to make sure that my ink didn't dry down too much, but also thinking of it in little sections and bands like that helps me from feeling overwhelmed when I'm coloring something in like this, especially when I was first starting out playing around with my Copics and practicing. The idea of having to do all of this at once was so overwhelming that I kind of just I would shy away from a stamp set like this. And I really hope that you seeing it broken down into pieces, if that helps you to kind of tackle it. You know what they say, right? Like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. That's how I chip away at my scenes and my stamped images, is just doing one section at a time. And it's good to like pre-plan out kind of colors and what you want, but if you think of it just completing it one at a time, it's much more manageable for me. So I used a lot of those same brown tones on the Broom, going in with my YR20s. I did the 29, 27, and 27, 24, and 21 for the bristles of that broom. And I had the perfect sequin mix to go with her outfit. This is a new one, Gothic Rose from Possum Stamps. And I ended up putting her right over this yellow background. And in hindsight, I wish I had done some ink blending, just maybe like a darker gold or deeper yellow color on towards the bottom of the window areas, and then blended it up to just fade into the natural yellow of that paper at the top. But it is what it is. I still like it. I think it still gives it a nice pop. It's just with all the other blending on my card, if I could go back and redo it, I would just add a little bit of color there. So I cut up some leftover packaging and just used some Tombow permanent adhesive tape to attach that over my windows. And now I'm going in with this giant foam tape that I found at Joann's. It was way more cost effective than the 3M tape I had been using. So I'm testing it out, and I'm creating two separate wells here. Again, hindsight is 2020, and if I could, I would have doubled up this foam tape, and I would have not taken off this backing layer until I was ready and 100% sure that I was going to put my back on it, my background, my card panel, because you can see I'm sprinkling in my sequins, which is great, until I go to move it and they pop and they all stick to the tape. And then every time I would try to hold them, my fingers would get stuck to the tape, and when I would lift up my finger or pull my nail off of the tape, it would bounce the card and then they would re-stick. So I fought with this for a while. I edited a bunch of it out because I didn't think you needed that torture. But you can see there were a couple sequins that I gave up on, and I left them stuck to that tape. So I do have shaker bits in here. They do move around, but if I had done 2 layers of the foam tape, they would shake a lot more. So it's a personal preference, but like I said, if I could go back and redo it, those are the 2 things I would change. I would have doubled up my foam tape. I would have added a little bit extra sequins, and then I would have ink blended a little on those windows. So I am still in love with this card. I think it's super fun. And like I said, if you want a chance to enter to win these 2 stamp sets on screen, you leave a comment, make sure you're subscribed to this channel, and give this video a thumbs up before Monday, August 22nd at 5 p.m. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. I hope you're super excited about this release, and as always, happy crafting.